In the getting started videos, you will have seen the basics to adding elevations and what this first tab really offers you in terms of number of panels, quantity of elevations, width, height, editing the framing system parts for the elevation, that type of thing. So a lot of the other videos cover that. So in this video, let's talk about some of these other tabs at the bottom of the drawing window. And again, we're working with the GDS Storefront Estimating WinBidPro version 15. And these videos will help you understand kind of how different parts of this program works. So we're going to talk about the Splice. Doors is also covered with other videos, so we won't go over that again. So Splice, Unequal, Window or Transom tab, the Step, and the Rake tabs. So let's cover those, since we kind of limit this to about 10 minutes. So in the Splice tab, if an elevation is taller than a stock length material, which is typically 24 feet or 288 inches, then a lot of times you'll want to tell the program where a splice needs to fall. Because if the program doesn't see any values in these fields, it's going to splice the joint, the vertical joints, at the 24-foot stock length, or whatever that stock length is for the parts of the jambs, the verticals. So if you need to specify, say, a 21-foot 3-inch spot to splice, and it's a 24-foot stock length, then that's what you would do here. The trick is you have to enter a decimal value. So, in inches. You have to enter it in inches. So it won't do feet and inches in this screen. Most of the other screens here will, but keep that in mind. So if there's another splice after that, let's say taller, then you'd want to go down to splice 2. So it works from the ground up, and the first splice is, the first one from the ground, the second is the one on top of that, and so on. So you can have as many splices as you need, probably, because 10 should be plenty. And you'll see the splice on the screen. The other thing, in the actual vertical member that was spliced, there'll be a little line. In the framing system parts, you'll see that there's a field in the miscellaneous screen for hardware for a splice joint. So you can add the hardware that's needed for that, the parts. So that's pretty much how the splices work, and you can play with it and see the result pretty easily. So the Unequal tab, you'll notice that when you draw an elevation, the program automatically equalizes the panels. So there's only 2 exceptions to this, and that would be the Unequal tab and the Doors tab. So an unequal panel is basically just a user-defined width, let's say, for a panel. Like for this first one here, if I want to make it 20 inches instead of 30, I'm going to select the panel, and then I'm going to click here and enter 20 and add it to the drawing. And then you'll see the drawing changes that panel to 20 inches. So if I'm done, I can close that. And if I add a door now, I can stick a door in panel 2, make that, say, 36, and then it's going to equalize the remaining panel. So it's not going to affect the unequal panel that we specified. So that's a fixed value. Doesn't get changed by adding a door or another unequal panel. So that's pretty much how it works. So you would never want to make every panel unequal, because the program needs to have some panels to adjust when you're doing different things with the doors and the unequal panels. So if your panels aren't coming out the right width, then that probably means either your system profile is wrong, or your frame width is not right. So keep that in mind as well. And the Window tab, that one, it used to be called Transom, and we might actually switch it back to Transom because Window's kind of confusing. It's not for operable windows. It's just for adding a piece of glass somewhere in an elevation that interrupts verticals. So that's why we kind of put remove vertical segments here. So if I wanted to add a single piece of glass in panel 1 and 2 at a certain height, I'll say from panel 1 to 2 at a height of 60 inches to 100 inches. So starting at 60, going up to the top of the elevation. And 60 would be from the ground to the bottom of the horizontal that makes up that transom, or that window we call it, but transom's probably better. So that's how that would work. Now I could put a horizontal in that matches up to that at 60 inches by telling it I want a horizontal in panel 3, and I can add that, and now I've got kind of the look I want. So I've got a vertical separating panel 2 and 3, I've got no vertical above my horizontal in between panel 1 and 2. So that's my transom area. So that's how that works. Real easy to remove all these things. I can just click delete. I can go to my window transom tab here, click delete, and I can go to my unequal tab, click delete. So all those things are gone. It's back to the way it was when I first entered it. So now let's go to the step tab. Adding a step is, we used to call it cascade, and the step means it's just going to step down the top of the elevation. So if I want to say I want one from panel 1 to 3, if I want it to step down from panel 1 to 3, starting at the top and going down to say 48 inches, then I can type that as my range, and the program's going to equally step each headpiece down. So it looks like kind of a stair step or a cascade. So that's how that works. And you can do it either direction, you know, low to high, high to low. The program, we always kind of work left to right, just like reading a book or something, but you can vary the heights and panels. So now the rake, we used to call it rake top, so that's the same thing. So if we wanted to rake panel 1 to 3, let's say, from 100 to 48, then it's the same, you know, dimensions that we typed in under cascade, only this time it's just going to be a slope, a continuous slope. So we could slope it to panel 2 if we wanted to, and we let you kind of edit those things here. So you can get some funny looks with this if you need to, but you can also slope it opposite directions. It has to happen at a vertical though, so if you want a peak or a valley, it has to happen at a vertical. You can always exclude a vertical by going to the exclude tab, and that'll be covered in another video, but you probably get the idea of how that works. So we can delete that rake easily, and that's pretty much it. So look for another video that will cover arch, bulkhead, height, horizontal and equal horizontal, and then we'll have another video after that that will cover the remaining tabs. So be sure to watch all the videos, and it'll help you with the program immensely.